Happy New Year, everyone. It's John Moran here, and I want to give you my top 7 trends to focus on for your logistics and supply chain in 2011. Number 1, I think it's really important to keep an eye on energy right now. Oil is doing anything but going down, and as the price of oil rises, that's going to have a dramatic effect on your transportation spend. The second thing I think is a really big trend to focus on is inbound transportation management. This was a real buzzword, if you will, in 2009 and 2010. I think it's going to continue to be so. Gives companies a great opportunity to look at cost reduction inside their supply chain. But in addition, when you take back some of that control from the suppliers, you can do things like manufacturing process improvement, cut your lead times, leads to better forecasting, better planning for the entire team, for an entire organization. So again, I think inbound transportation management is going to be a big focus and a big trend in 2011. The other one right now is visibility. This is a buzzword throughout the industry. And the reason is that transportation management systems, which grew in popularity really in the mid-2000s and into today, are becoming a lot more cost effective. Where it used to have kind of a high barrier of entry from a cost standpoint, it's no longer that expensive, particularly with software as a service being available through a lot of these different vendors. So you're seeing 3PLs add this as a value add. You're also seeing, for example, some companies like Sterling Commerce, which was recently purchased by IBM, directly offer this to shippers themselves. So again, visibility inside the supply chain is going to be a big trend in 2011. And what that does is gives you more information. The more information you have, the better business decisions you can make. So I think another trend to take a look at is the location of DCs and geographically setting those up appropriately based on your customer base, based on your supplier base, and taking a look at some of the costs of doing business, having DCs in maybe major metropolitan areas like Los Angeles, or potentially putting them in more centrally located places, Dallas, Texas, for example, or someplace south maybe in the Memphis area. Doing things like that, for example, and taking advantage of pull distribution opportunities, zone skipping, taking advantage of lower labor costs. I think companies are really going to look at that, and 3PLs have played a huge part, quite frankly, in companies outsourcing to different geographic areas for their DCs. Another trend to take a look at is CSA 2010. I think this is going to have a huge impact on the market. It could potentially drive out as much as 20 to 30% of an already aging trucking force. And as those truckers leave the market, what's going to happen? Capacity is going to tighten up, and with oil prices rising, again, I think it's kind of a perfect storm for rising transportation costs in 2011. So again, a trend you want to take a look at. Another thing right now that's big is transparency. I think this ties in directly with visibility. Having better transparency between vendors and suppliers and your organization. And really, I think it boils down to business connectivity and how connected you are, again, with your various suppliers and carriers and so forth. And as we get better business connectivity, we're going to have better transparency among business partners. And I think that's going to be a huge trend for 2011, so keep your eye out for that. And then last but not least, monetary policy and currency risk if you have a global supply chain. That's going to continue to be a major point of emphasis. And if you were at the CSP conference last year, Council of Supply Chain Management Professionals Conference, that was actually the keynote speech, was about currency risk. So again, something to keep a look at. In any event, hope that these trends and things to look for in your supply chain were helpful. Hope you have a fantastic 2011. If we're not currently doing business, hopefully we'll get an opportunity to speak in the new year. And other than that, here's to your continued success. We'll see you soon.